Hello everybody, welcome back to Broken Berean, and today we're going to be taking a look at the trailer for the movie Conclave starring Ralph Fiennes. And I didn't know this movie was coming out this weekend, and I'm really intrigued. Anything that has to do with the Christian church, whether fact or fiction, I'm drawn to it, and I want to see it. But my first thought when I saw the word Fiennes, the name Fiennes, and the Catholic Church, I immediately was like, oh, it's Rafe, not Joe. If you've never seen this movie, it is one of my favorites, starring Joseph Fiennes. It was an indie film done years ago about Martin Luther and the Protestant Reformation. Historically accurate to the events. The dialogue obviously was made up to help support those events, but very historically accurate. And not only that, the coolest part about this, besides that Alfred Molina's in it, is they filmed it where these real life events took place in Germany. And it's crazy. And I watch it every Halloween because it's Reformation Day. That's when Martin Luther attacked the 95 Theses on the church door. And this year I was like, oh, I want to watch it in Blu-ray. Apparently they didn't release a Blu-ray version in North America, but I did happen to find a German one. And luckily I have a region-free, a multi-region Blu-ray player that I picked up a couple of years ago, so hopefully I'll be able to watch the Blu-ray version of it. If not, I got my DVD to fall back on. But big bros following little bros footsteps and doing a movie about the Catholic Church, only on the opposite side this time. But let's take a look at this movie. It is a fictional movie. Let's start off by that. It is a fictional thriller that's intriguing. I watched it once already. I was like, ooh, this looks interesting. So let's take a look at what we are getting ourselves into with Conclave.
The Pope is dead. The throne is vacant.
The conclave begins now. We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
And 1.25 billion souls watching.
Now, I'll stop this here. I'm not Catholic. I am a Reformed Baptist, and I attend the Southern Baptist Church, but I do know a lot of church history. Just for those that don't know, that conclave is when a pope passes. A lot of the higher-ups, cardinals, archbishops, and things like that, sequester themselves to pick the new pope, the vote on the new pope. And that's where, the smoke from the chimney, they film, when it's black, they haven't made a decision. When it's white, they've selected the new pope. And basically the conclave is just kind of it's just kind of like a really intense voting thing. It's not really known so much per se to the common folk outside the higher ups in the Catholic Church of what actually goes on, but it's kind of like a compressed political rally. I mean, let's call it what it is, of who's going to be the next pope of the Catholic Church. So that is what conclave is. And that's a very simplified version of it, just so you know. So that's what's taking place here in this movie. They're about to vote on the new pope because the pope has passed away. This happens every time. So let's keep watching. Sorry.
Let's say this is a pretty fair vision of hell.
Well, don't be blasphemous, Ray. Hell arrives tomorrow when we bring in the cardinals.
No sane man would want the papacy.
Some of our colleagues seem to want it.
Another cardinal has just turned up. He was never on our list.
He has to be an imposter.
You look anxious. Everything under control.
Where did you get this?
The Holy Father was spying on all of us.
You should be careful, Thomas.
Although we sisters are supposed to be invisible, God has nevertheless given us eyes and ears.
What did you discuss with the Holy Father in that final meeting?
The arrangements were made in Paris.
I shall pretend this conversation never took place.
But it has taken place. This is a conclave. It's not a war.
It is a war. And you have to commit to a side.
Why did the Holy Father, in his last official act as Pope, choose me to run this conclave?
The reasons would become clear soon enough.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no dog in this fight if it's accurate to how the Catholics actually do a conclave. To me, this is just a thriller mystery of sorts with the Catholic Church as the setting. I don't know if Catholics will find this movie offensive or not. I don't know. I'm intrigued either way. You know, just like I saw, what was it? Da Vinci Code. Lost my brain there for a second. All those movies, I found them interesting. I know they're all fiction and but I found all that stuff interesting. And so, to me, this movie looks like a really good thriller. And I mean, that's a stellar cast. John Lithgow and Stanley Tucci, Ralph Fiennes. I mean, those are some heavy hitters and some phenomenal actors. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Stanley Tucci in something that I was like, oh, that was bad. You know, there's a list of actors I have in my head that I'm just like, yeah, did great. You know, whether they receive the accolades they should, in my mind, they're all three of these men. And, what was it? I can never remember her name. And they said it. Gosh. Does it not? I feel bad because I always forget her name. Isabella Rossellini. She's phenomenal. I forget her name, but every time I see her in her movie, I'm like, wow, she is. I don't know if she's a method actress, but her performances are so engaging and realistic. I mean, everything about this movie just shouts, wow. I mean, the story sounds intriguing. There's a mystery element, what's going on, and I know it kind of seems a little clandestine, a little, oh, you shouldn't be taking about this with the church, and well, it's the Roman Catholic, so we can poke fun at it a little bit. And no, it's not because I hate Roman Catholics. I don't. I come from my father's side of the family is very Roman Catholic, and I love them all to death. Cousins, aunt and uncles, and my grandmother especially. You know, some people are like, oh, well, Roman Catholics aren't really Christians, and I find that believable. I was like, I guarantee you, my grandmother, who was a devout Roman Catholic and sent me cards of saints on the saint days to me and my brother every year. We got cards from her constantly. I know that woman's in heaven. That woman knew Jesus. And so I'm not worried about that. But this movie looks so good, so intriguing. I know it's not historically accurate, and it may be slightly offensive, but I'm used. And Catholics, if you are, I apologize. I don't want it to be offensive to you. But I mean, come on. When has Hollywood not made things that wasn't offensive to Christians? Well, this is one of them. That was great. It was offensive if you're Catholic, if you're a Protestant, or if you're a Protestant or a Reformationist, yeah, it's not offensive at all. But you got to take it with a grain of salt that, you know, this looks like a good movie. Just phenomenal movie. And the cinematography looks good. You've got actors and actresses that just look like they're going to play phenomenal things. If I didn't have this weekend packed with stuff with me and my kids, I would be seeing it in the theater this weekend, because this type of movie just intrigues me. Maybe I'll go see it later next week. But I will go see it, and I'll come back with a review. I haven't done a movie review in such a long time, but this looks so incredible. And I know some people will look at it and like, oh, it's just going to be something like Da Vinci Code. I really don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be, like I said before, a thriller that is set within the confines of the Roman Catholic world. And that's okay. It's fiction. So just remember that. Christians going into this, non-Christians going into this, this is fiction. 100%. None of this happened. So you got to give it some leeway. As long as it's not blasphemous or heretical, I'm okay with it. It's fun to explore different things and the darker sides of humanity, even in relation to theology. It's okay to examine those, but this will be a mostly Hollywood take. I don't think any of these are devout Christians. I don't know. I don't know the actors or actresses enough to where they stand on their religious beliefs of these four major actors. I have a feeling that probably Isabella is Catholic. I want to say I read that somewhere, but I don't think any of the gentlemen are, so it is what it is. It's a fictional story, but it looks compelling, and I'm in for it. So let's bring on the compelling thriller set in a Roman Catholic conclave, deciding the Pope of the future. I can't wait. So let me know what you think down below. Let's talk about it. Let's nerd out about it. Let's get a little theological about it. Let's have some fun. So until next time, my friends, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.